Hey guys, and welcome back to yet a Monday critique. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. I'm having a wonderful day. So today is a very special day in the sense that this week is a week of, I don't know if you guys in the US, you know that today, this week is basically Thanksgiving week. So if you are going to be, having a Thanksgiving here, happy Thanksgiving to you. So if this is your first time joining us on this Monday Critique show, typically what we do here, we critique two images submitted by two members of our Facebook group, and we go through those images and give them feedback on the images that they submitted. So before we start, I'm going to show you guys exactly how you could submit your images if you would like to submit your images to be critiqued. And then after that, I will introduce our guest that we have today, our very special guest. And then we'll go from there. All right, so I'm going to switch it over to my desktop here and I'll show you guys how to do that. So let's do that really quick. Transition. All right, so the way you could basically submit your images to be critiqued, there's a specific group on Facebook. It's called Fine Art Photography and Modeling. And in that group, you could request to join the group. If you're not already a member of the group, just request to join the group. And once you request to join the group, you'll be prompted with 3 questions. And if you don't answer those 3 questions, you don't get in. But if you answer those 3 questions, you will get straight into the group. So once you answer those 3 questions, there's a specific pinned post at the very top of the group. And on that pinned post is where you could submit your image. So here's the pinned post. And in that pinned post, you just go to the comment section. And in the comment section, you just upload your images there, along with any type of settings that's associated with that particular image, and then you go from there. Okay? So that's a simple way that you could do it. You could see there's a lot of other images in here that's submitted by other members of the group. And what we do is we just chronologically, select the images and then go from there. And that's as simple as we do it. So today, like I said, we're going to be critiquing 2 images. But before we start the critique, I want to introduce our wonderful guest that we have today. Let me switch it over here so you guys can see who it is. And there we go. Trying to find the right thing here. All right. So we have our wonderful guest, Keydrin Franklin, Mr. 924 Photography himself. So Keydrin, thank you very much for joining us. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
What's going on, guys? How y'all doing today? Well, as you probably already know, or you don't know, I am from Fort Worth, Texas, and I am a portrait photographer and retoucher. So that's what I am.
He's being modest, man.
That's all I am.
This dude does some amazing work. You gotta really check out his social media and his YouTube channel. So I put all those links down below, by the way, below this video. You could go check out his stuff, but he does some amazing work. When I came across Keydrin work, he did, it was an image that was I forgot what group it was in, Keydrin. It was an image of a whole bunch of young ladies, fitness young ladies, and they're all, you know which one I'm talking about, right?
In the middle of the road.
Yes. You had posted that in some group somewhere. I totally forgot what group it was. And then you had posted like the live video that went with it. And I was like, what the hell is this? I'm like, okay, let me go check it out. And that's the first time I came across your work. That was a great shot.
Well, I really appreciate it, man. That shot took some finessing because in downtown Dallas, it's a lot of people that run the streets. Like, traffic was really bad, but luckily that day we had the police and the fire department to stop the traffic. We were able to get the shot, and we were safe. So
that's what's up. You guys got to go check that out. I think that was maybe a year ago, maybe.
Yeah, they can find it on Instagram as well.
Yeah. So awesome. Yeah, it's an awesome image. All right, guys. So again, if this is the first time you're joining us, like I said, we're critiquing 2 specific images. And the way we're going to critique these images is we're going to be looking at 4 specific things. We're going to be looking at light, posing, composition, and post-production. Now, myself and Keydrin, we didn't share any notes. So I don't know what he's thinking. He doesn't know what I'm thinking. and we're gonna roll with it. And I'm hoping that we have some disagreements, so at least we can have some dialogue, you know. So that's the hope. All right.
Oh my goodness.
So, all right. So let's get into it here. I'm gonna switch over to my desktop, and I'm gonna take the first stab at it. And so we're gonna start here with Shawnee. Shawnee submitted her image. Now, once Shawnee submitted her image, she didn't really specify any particular details like, camera or any XREF data that's associated with this particular image. So, but, it doesn't matter. We're going to still critique it the same way it is. The one thing I want to say before I jump into the critiquing, if you guys have any comments about the image, or you agree or disagree with us, please put it in the comment section so that we can have a conversation about it. We want to have a complete dialogue, so put those comments down there. So I'm going to bring up here my Photoshop, and we're going to start. So a couple of things when I looked at this particular image, I really like the whole scene. I really like the whole pose, the motion that I'm getting out of this image. I really like it. So from that perspective, Shawnee, I really think you captured that particular essence in this particular image very well, because I do find it very intriguing. So that's a great job on your part. So the first thing I'm going to start here with is with light. So Shawnee had a great eye, in particular finding the main source of light. In this particular case, she's using natural light. That's my assumption. She's using natural light in this particular case. So if you look at this particular image, the light source is coming in from camera left, right? So if you notice here, the light source is coming in from camera left. And what that allows to happen is basically create some depth and dimension in this image, because Shawnee had the foresight to basically say to the model, hey, turn your face a little bit left, so camera left, so that main light could hit the subject's face, which is a great job on her part. And then once she did that, it created this nice depth and dimension, or this shadow that you could see that's on her cheekbones. It created that nice shadow, which for me personally, I like to add, that depth and dimension. And if you watch Keydrin's work as well, you will notice that he liked to add that as well. So adding that depth to your image creates that 2D or 3D type look on a flat surface. So I think that's really well done. So great job on that, Shawnee. I really like that. So the one thing that I noticed with respect to the light in this particular image is that it's a little bit overexposed. So what I would say here is, when you're capturing this image, I would just say, just check the back of your camera when you're taking these images. Most cameras have like highlight indicators built into it. You could check, or you even could check like your histogram to see if you're spiking. So if you can't tell it by looking at the particular image, use the tools that's built into your camera that will help you to say, okay, look, this image is a little bit overexposed. Maybe I should take it again. So that's the only thing I would say with respect to your light here. So if you notice here, there's a bunch of hot spots on her forehead, her chest, and her right arm here, or right there. So these are the things that I look at when I'm looking at my images. And I would say when you're looking at your images, I would say dial in on those things, focus in on those things, and it will really help you. And use the tools that you have in your camera. It will really help you. So those are the things that I had to say with respect to your particular image when it comes to light. So Keydrin, what do you think?
All right, man. So what I think, let's see here. Shawnee, first I want to say the image, it looks nice. If we're saying respect to light, like Ernesto said, it is kind of bright on the forehead. So look at your histogram. Normally, when I'm taking images like that, even if it is natural light, I try to underexpose just a bit, especially if you're shooting raw. You should be able to bring back up those shadows and you don't overexpose, because it's easier to bring up your shadows than to try to bring down your highlights. Uh, Next, what I would say is the pose. I like the pose. I think the camera angle should have been different, because for me, the waterfall is distracting. Or what you could have done is had her to engage more into the camera, her eyes. That way I would have felt like, it would have given me a different look. But the pose itself, it looks good, just a different camera angle. Let's see here. Composition wise, the composition is fine for me. I like it. Like I said before, I would have liked for her eyes to be, into the camera, especially the way you were shooting down at her. And that's it for that, not unless you're ready to go to the post production.
Okay. Okay. So let me run through, and just let me remind you guys, if you have any comments, drop those comments down in the comment section. Whether you agree, or you have a different viewpoint as far as the light, the pose, the composition, the post production, any of those things. If you have any comments about that, drop that in the comment section so we can have some dialogue about it. So I'm going to give you my thoughts with respect to the pose and the composition, and then we could just roll into the post-production. So with respect to the pose, with respect to posing, I really like, moving, limbs, body parts to basically help give, especially a female subject, shape to a particular image. So that's one aspect of posing that I really, really enjoy by creating shapes, right? And then the other aspect of it is basically bringing out emotion, right? Emotion is so important. Bringing out a great expression out of the subject, transform what can be a very static or very, not very engaging pose. It could bring it alive, right? And those are the two things, those are the two components that I look at when it comes to posing, right? So when I look at this particular image, I think, Shawnee, I think you nail both of those things pretty well in this particular image. I think you and your subject really connected and created something that's really beautiful, at least in my opinion, right? If I wanted to be very, very picky about it, and this is, trust me, this is very, very picky. It's not no ding against you at all. I really think you guys did a great job. The only thing I would have done, if I was taking this image, is that I would have tried to create a little bit of a gap between her elbow and her waist here. And what that would have done is basically created a little bit more shape, or added a little bit more shape to the female subject here. And that's it. And again, that's very nitpicky. But overall, I really, really think you guys did a great job with this particular pose. So from a poser perspective, great job there. So now let's move on to the composition. So from a compositional perspective, right, there's a couple of things that I really, really love about your composition. And then there's a couple of things that distracts me a little bit, right? So the one thing that I really, really like about this composition is the unique nature of it, in the sense that I can't tell if she's actually standing in the water or if she's standing on something. It's very unique. I really, really like it. I don't think I personally ever taken a picture in this fashion before. So when I saw it, it really drew me in. So that's one thing. The other thing that that's I guess a little bit nitpicky when it comes to composition is what I generally do with composition is I utilize people talk about it and I do it. I utilize the four corners of the viewfinder. Like you look around the four corners and then you figure out, okay, what is it that I'm including or excluding from this shot that could be distracting to the viewer. So when I look at this image, the one thing that I notice that's, being excluded, that should have been included, is her fingers, right? So her fingers got chopped off just a little bit if you look here. And to me, it was just a little bit, not too much, but just a little bit distracting. So I would say is either you include the fingers completely or you exclude them, right? And if you were to exclude them, I wouldn't say chop it off by her wrist, you know. I would say just bring it up a little bit more closer to her elbows so at least it doesn't look like it was an unintentional cutoff. So that's all I would say with respect to your composition. The last thing I would say with respect to your composition is that keep in mind when you create a composition is that the very first thing that's to hit your lens is the very first thing that will look very big. So in this particular case, because her forehead is, very close to the camera, her forehead would be pronounced, it will be very pronounced. So keep that in mind as well. All right. So overall, I think your composition is great, but just pay attention to those little minor details. And I think if you do that, I think it will make your image, well, not this image, but, your follow-up images, it will make them that much stronger. All right. So I hope that was helpful. So now let's move into the post-production. So a couple of things with respect to the post-production. So like I was talking about with respect to the light. So this particular image is just a little bit overexposed to me. So by dropping, and you have a JPEG file here, I won't get into the whole JPEG RAW argument right now, but you have a JPEG file here, which is what you submitted via Facebook, but it's what I have, right? So I can't push this file too far. So I try to, reduce the exposure as much as I can. The other thing that I did, which is very, very subjective, at least in my opinion, is subjective to me, and it might not be subjective to anybody else. But the one thing I found that's just a little bit distracting when I was looking at this image is these leaves here. So I just basically say, you know what, let's eliminate those leaves and see what it looks like. And that's what I did. The other thing that I decided to do was also put a vignette around the subject just to isolate the subject a little bit. And I think that for me, again, subjective, I think for me that really helps. So this is pretty much what I did. So this is the after. Now my patch job here was pretty quick. So it's not a great job of removing the leaves, but you get the idea. Right, so this is basically what I did. I reduced the exposure on the subject, I put a vignette around the subject, and I got rid of the leaves. And that was it. And I think for me, I just basically helped me to isolate the subject a little bit more and focus more on the subject. And that's all I did from a post-production perspective. So Keydrin, what do you think?
Ernesto, I think what you've done with the leaves is very, very good because now it draws my eyes more into her face. In post-production, what I would do normally when I'm in post-production, I look at all the minor details. Sometimes when I'm on location, I will miss things, but like Ernesto touched on before, like cutting the hands off and stuff like that. I try to get that right in camera. And then everything else that's in the scene, sometimes you cannot eliminate it, but you can in post. So removing the leaves to me made this image better. Another thing that I would do is the hot spot that's on her chest. I would try to kind of dodge it down to kind of make it blend between the highlights and the shadows to just kind of smooth it out a little bit because it is distracting because I go to her face and it's already bright. And then I just dip down. So that will be one thing that I would do. Like I said earlier, I think that the waterfalls are distracting for me, but it's all about creativity and everybody has their own creative, thoughts. So, and like he touched on earlier, we don't know if she's standing or if she's in the water. The way her hands are, it kind of seems like she's kind of holding her dress up. She's in the water. I'm not sure, but I would have liked for her to see her eyes engaged. Let's see here. The highlights on her forehead, like you said before, they're really blown out, so I don't really believe you can bring those back too much. But other than that, man, I mean, you did a very good job as far as artistic, trying shooting artistically. I think it's fine. For me, like I said earlier, that I would have changed the camera angle, or what you could do is take multiple camera angles. You probably did take multiple camera angles, and you just chose that one because that one was you thought that one was your best shot, which, I mean, it is. It is still a nice shot regardless.
Awesome. All right, so let's jump in here to the comments and see what people have to say before we move on to the next image. So Anthony Cleveland is saying hello from Alabama. What's up, Anthony? Samantha Gonzalez saying, yes, Keydrin has some amazing work. Yes, he does. And then Samantha goes on to say here, separation between her left arm would work. Yep, I think that would help. Samantha saying yes. I'm not sure what you're saying yes to, but thank you. Then Matthew Riaz is saying, yo, Keydrin in the house. What is that? What is that? I'm at Zoom?
Okay.
I am at
Hey,
Zoom?
no, I am the Zoom.
Oh,
So
I
in
am the Zoom.
one of my YouTube videos that I did for Sigma, I was like, I always use fixed lenses, and so I say that I am the Zoom because I don't use 70 to 200 or anything at all.
Okay. Well, you use that monster lens, so that is definitely you are the Zoom.
Absolutely.
So LRS photography is saying, I personally like the leaves. I would remove the one leaf. Let me see what one leaf you were referring to. Yep, totally, yep. Maybe that was the one thing that was annoying me, that one leaf. But yeah, you're right. What else
Yeah.
here?
True. True. True.
So Stanley Paris is saying, this is great seeing you two together. Whoa, man. Thank you, Stanley. Well, thank Keydrin for joining us. That was awesome of him. So let's see here. Matthew Riaz is saying, laughing, Keydrin knows what's up. Yes, he does. Stanley is saying, I would paint the skin if he can't bring any detail back. Yes, you can do that. I think with frequency separation also, you could probably do that with a little bit more control as well.
Yep.
So yeah, definitely agree. Actually, I seen, who's actually really, really good at painting without even doing frequency separation?
Who's that?
Aaron Nace.
Oh man, Aaron Nace is great.
Yeah, I try sometimes to just paint the skin, take like sample piece of the skin and then paint. Can't do it. I can't have that control like he does. It just doesn't come out the same. So I just basically just use, if I need to paint the skin for whatever reason, like if there's a hot spot on someone's head, I just use frequency separation, add that layer in between, and then paint. That's what I would do. All right, guys. So now let's move on to the second image here, and continue to drop those comments down below, and we'll come back to it. All right, guys. So like I said, the four things we're going to focus on is light, pose, composition, and post-production. So the second image was submitted by Mario Fernando. Now let's look at the settings that Mario provided here. So he shot this with a 50. Not sure what camera it is that he used, but he shot this with a 50 at f1.8. ISO was at 100. The shutter was 1/50th of a second. He utilized natural light, and he did his post-production in Photoshop CS6. So let's go here. So here's Mario's image. So a couple of things I really, really love about this image. I personally don't take any nude portraiture. It's not that I don't want to, it's just I never really had a desire to. And I think that's one of the things that's lacking in my arsenal, my skills arsenal. Like I would really like to tap into that area at some point, really like, hone my posing skills in that area, because there's a totally different posing when it comes to posing women, that's, not clothed, is just different. And I don't have that skill set, and I should build it up one day. I saw you had that nice black and white image in your gallery. You posted up in your gallery. You posted also on your Instagram as well. That black
Yes.
and white. So yeah, obviously you have more experience in that area than I do.
Well,
No?
I ain't gonna say.
Well,
Well,
you have
it just
more.
depends.
Yeah, let's say you have more than I do, because you shot at least one or more. I shot none.
I've shot more, but
I
it's
shot none.
very few in between.
So what basically I don't know if it annoys me, but it's a little bit distracting to me when I see nude images, is like trying to hide the naughty bits, right? And having
Yes.
women putting their hands on their chests, blatantly, like you could definitely see like they hiding it, right? Or so to me that just feels like a little bit forced. It doesn't feel natural. And when I look at this image, it just feels very, obviously we know she's nude, right? But it just feels natural, like she's not intentionally, like I don't feel like she's intentionally hiding anything, right? It's there, but she's not intentionally like hiding anything. And that to me feels a lot more natural. So for Mario, for me, I really think with respect to that, I think for me, I connected with this image immediately when I saw that, because it didn't have that distracting element that I usually see in nude portraiture. So great job with that. So let's go on to the light here and talk about a couple of things that I really like about the light. So from a lighting perspective, working with natural light, sometimes is a blessing and a curse. In this particular case, I really think you have a lot of blessings in this particular image. I really, really like the soft quality of light that's on the subject, especially the light that's falling on her body. I really, really like that soft quality of light. The only thing I would say, is that basically the light that's falling on our face, which usually is the light that's most important. Well, I guess it depends on what you're highlighting. But in this particular case, since her face is there, you are highlighting her face. So the only thing I would say is that the light that's falling on her face is not that great. So I would get a reflector, to help bounce some light back into her face, or get some type of other light source to help just, pop a little bit of light in her face, just to bring up the exposure just a little bit. So that's exactly what I did here. Basically, I just added a little bit more light in her face in post. And I think that basically, help draw your attention a little bit more to her face. So Keydrin, what do you think about the light in this subject?
From respect of light, I agree with you. The light could have been better on her face, although you can bring it back up in post production. But it's always good to start with a good base. I also agree with the reflector, bouncing some light back to kind of give that light, back on the side of the face that's really, really dark. Uh, to touch on what you said earlier, I like that it's not all posy. It's almost like she was caught playing a piano. It's like telling a story to me, like she was caught playing a piano. Uh, it was she was not supposed to. I mean, it might not be the look you were going for, but that's what I gather when I look at this image. Uh, but other than that, I mean, if we're talking about a base image and the light source, I mean, I like the way the light is coming in, but I would have liked to see a little more bounce.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you did a great job there, but I think the only thing is
Yeah.
the light for the face. All right, so let's move on to the pose in this particular image. So from a posing perspective, like I said at the top of this, I really like the naturalness of this pose. I really, really do. The only thing I would have adjusted, and again, this is very nitpicky, and I think this also is very subjective as well, is I would have tried to create a little bit of gap between her chin and her shoulder. And I think, as far as the wrinkles on her neck, I don't mind that so much. But I think just creating a little bit of a gap between her neck and her shoulder would, elongate her neck a little bit more. Neck and her shoulder. I meant her chin and her shoulder. Okay, and that's it. That's all. I think overall, I think you did a great job with the pose in this image. So, what do you think, Keydrin?
Oh, the pose. I agree with the chin. Now, what I would have liked to see, like I've been on 500px, where I get inspiration from there as well, and I've seen a couple of poses or scenes just like this, and they added the window light in to add more depth to the scene. Because like right now it's just a woman that is naked with, we know she's naked playing a piano, and she got caught doing something maybe. But as far as the pose go, I would have liked to see, a little more separation between the chin and the shoulder. Other than that, her expression on her face, I don't mind it. I don't mind the expression. I think that it's okay. Yeah, it's just okay. It could have been a little bit different. So just for next time, I personally will probably take, multiple images, which you probably did, and this was probably the one that you chose that was the best out of that set. I would have probably, chose something like that. I mean, I like the image. The image is still good. I mean, as far as, looking at the image, the light, the pose, I mean, it still draws me into the image. I mean, I would have stopped. If I was scrolling on Facebook, I would have stopped, not because she's naked, but I would have stopped because it's an interesting photo. So.
Yeah, I totally agree. It definitely draws you in. It's very intriguing. So that's with respect to the pose. So now let's talk about the composition in this particular image. So from a compositional perspective, I really just think from a composition perspective, I have nothing to say about the composition. I just think you nailed it. I think it's spot on, including the piano just a little bit there, and intentionally cutting off, where her butt crack would generally be, intentionally cutting that off. I just think it was perfect the way it is. So I have no suggestions with respect to your composition. I think it's perfect. So what do you think, Keydrin?
Yeah. The composition is good. I mean, cutting off the butt cheek because of Facebook too.
Actually, does Facebook flag that? It is.
Man, they'll
Yeah.
flag it in a minute. You don't have to see just a little bit of crack.
Wow.
Boy, you get there, you get flagged. Yeah, just right there. So I mean, you did a very, very good job on that. Like I said, I like the piano. I like the composition that you've chosen for this frame. I would have liked to see more of a window light, more of the environment with the piano in it. But I know that would have been hard because you would have had to show the butt crack as we're talking about. But other than that, yeah, the pose for this particular frame, I mean, I like it. You have her in the right third, and it looks like, if I'm looking at it correctly, if you was to put a grid up, it looks like her eye might cross through the right third. So I think he utilized that really, really well.
Yeah, I do too. All right, so last thing here we're going to talk about is the post-production. So from a post-production perspective, so I'm not really sure how much post-production you did to this particular image, but I don't think it needs that much post-production. So the one thing I would do here is add a little bit of dodging and burning to this particular image, just to bring up some of that, highlight a little bit and add a little bit more shadows to the subject here, just to add a little bit more depth. That's the only thing I would do here. And then the other thing I would do here is, if you go at the very bottom of this image, let me blow it up here so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So I don't know what this is, let me circle it here. I think I have it circled. I don't know what this is, but whatever it is, I would suggest just to have a cleaner image, just to basically get rid of it. What I try to do sometimes, and I miss it all the time, is look at little details here and there. And once I see those little details that's might be just a little bit distracting to the image, I get rid of it, because sometimes when people notice those little imperfections, they can't stop looking at it. Like
Nope.
yeah, like when I saw this, I'm like, man, what is that? I can't stop looking at it. You know, your mind is trying to, figure it out, So I would say, get rid of that. And that's what I did here in the post-production. I just get rid of it. I didn't do such an awesome job with it because I wasn't being that clean with it, but I got rid of it. So that's what I would do there. And then I would just do a little bit of dodging and burn into this particular image. And that is all I would suggest. Well, you could do more, obviously. You could do a lot more, but those are the little things that I would suggest with respect to this image. So what do you think, Keydrin?
All right, man. So the image that you sent me, I know it was a JPEG image, and when I blew it up on my iMac, right? The first thing that drawed my eye was it looked like they tried to do sharpening on the edge of the body. I think that they missed focus, and the focus. Now I'm saying that they missed focus, but since the lady is supposed to be the primarily focus of this image, I don't think that they caught focus on the eyes. It was on the music notes. So if you could zoom in on the music notes, I think that they caught focus on the music notes. And like I said, when I blew it up on my iMac, it looks like that they tried to like sharpen the edges of the skin, and then they tried to sharpen the eyes as well. Maybe it's just my iMac because I zoom in all the way when I'm editing, like 300 or 400%. So I'm used to it, and since I'm a retoucher, I look at things like that. Can you zoom out for me real quick, Ernesto?
Sure.
Um, Next thing, just like Ernesto said, I would do some dodging and burning. That would definitely bring this image out, because this image is still great for a base image. You do some dodging and burning, and a little bit of frequency separation, and you can add more depth to this image and bring it out a lot more. Especially like the highlights in the hair. I would definitely, hair to me and one of my teammates are an important factor as well. If you can highlight the hair, I think that it draws people in. And when we said earlier about the reflector, right? The reflector to bring more catch light, into the eyes. That way you could brighten them up. I think that would be great. But other than that, I think it's good. And that spot at the bottom that Ernesto said earlier, I thought it was just some fuzzy hair hanging around in there. So I couldn't stop looking at it either. But Mario, I mean, you still did a great job. No matter what, we have to keep creating. Those are a few things that I would definitely change: dodge and burn the hair, and the skin, and a few blotchy spots, because I see blotchy spots because I'm a retoucher. But the normal person is just regular editing, probably wouldn't even see what I see now. And I could nitpick the whole thing, but normally I just don't do that. Back to you, buddy.
Yeah, definitely. Someone coined this term already, but I will steal it in this particular case. Micro dodging and burning.
Oh my goodness.
Micro dodging and burning definitely is something that I didn't used to do. And so let me explain what that is. So if you guys don't know what I mean by that,
That's what I use all the time.
there's the regular dodging and burning, which is basically increasing the highlights, put in some darks on the subject so you could have some depth and dimension into your image. That's the standard dodging and burning. But with micro dodging and burning, it's more focused around the transition between highlights and shadows, right? So when you're looking at the image, so when Keydrin is talking about the blotchy parts of on the subject, basically what you're looking at is basically a dark spot on the subject, and then there's highlights around that dark spot, right? So in order to help transition it properly, you got to, utilize this micro dodging and burning to help smooth out that dark spot so it could easily transition into the highlights. So that way it doesn't appear to be a blotchy part of the image anymore. So I personally started utilizing this micro dodging and burning about maybe a year and a half ago. And I gotta say, it basically changed up the way I do post-production completely. So if you guys don't know what that is, I think I have a video on it. Yes, I do have a video on it. I'll put a link in the description to this video after this is no longer live. You guys can check it out. It's very helpful. It's very powerful. And yeah, I wish I learned about it years ago, but it's more powerful, I would say, than utilizing frequency separation. Because when you use, I noticed I used to use frequency separations to do this exact thing. And I did a comparison, Keydrin, I did a comparison of just doing the frequency separation, blurring out the skin to help blur out those blotchy parts, right? And then I said, okay, let me do the micro dodging and burning and just do a quick comparison. There was no comparison. It was like night and day, right? Because the dodging and burning did so much better than the frequency separation. So yeah, guys, you gotta if you have some time, definitely look into micro dodging and burning. Let's put it this way: it's a lot of work, but it pays off. It pays off. It makes your images 10 times better. Trust me, I know. When I started using it, I totally saw the change. So I'm gonna jump to your comments in a minute. I'm just gonna basically tell you guys again how you could submit your images, because this is the last images of the evening. So I'm going to tell you guys how to submit your images, and then you guys drop your comments down below. Let us know if you have any questions, whether it be about this image or any question in general, and then we'll basically wrap it up from here. So let me just, yeah, sure.
Can I say one thing on your dodging and burning?
Go.
I've been using micro dodging and burning for about a year and a half as well. And I will say that when you're using micro dodge and burn, you need to zoom in and out of the image quite a bit, because if you don't, you can get so consumed when you're tight in messing with stuff, and you make it worse than it really is.
Yep.
But I don't even use frequency separation anymore. All my edits that people see on my page are micro dodge and burn. They take me about almost an hour. And the reason why it takes me an hour is because I'm going through and I'm just finding the little lines, and it just makes a big overall difference to the whole image. It's night and day. That was it.
Yeah, totally agree. Actually, that's actually shocking, because I never know that all that you do was micro dodging and burning and no frequency separation. That is news, people. News right there. That is big. So let's go here, because I still cheat and I still use frequency separation if I'm working like with bulk images or something, and I don't want to spend in that hour. I cheat and I use it.
Now I do that. I do that as well. I'll cheat for that. But if it's something that I'm gonna post myself and I only post my best work, then I'm gonna spend the time, because that's what I want to be displayed. And that's the reason why I use micro dodge and burn. Frequency separation, I used to use it a lot, but I just found that micro dodge and burn, just spending the time in your image, it's well worth it.
I totally agree. Totally. So guys, if you wanted to submit your images to be critiqued, there's a Facebook group. It's called Fine Art Photography and Modeling. It's on Facebook. So currently, the only way that you can submit your images to be critiqued is via that group. And if you're not a member of the group, just request to become a member of the group, And when you request, there's 3 questions that you get prompted with. If you don't answer those 3 questions, which is all photography related, if you don't answer those 3 questions, you don't get let into the group. Is that simple. But if you do answer the questions, you get straight in. Now, if you're already a member of the group, you will notice that there's a specific pin post at the top of the group where you could submit your images to be critiqued. And when you submit your images, you basically would submit any type of any type of details associated with the image that you want to put there, or if you want to put any details like how you took it to add a little bit of context, that would be fine as well. Not required, as you could see here, because Shani didn't supply any type of details with hers. But if you want to submit it, you could put that information there. Now, the group is not just for critique. The group is basically you submit images, you share it, just like any other group on Facebook. This group is not about numbers. It's not about growing the membership numbers, because like I said, if you don't answer those questions, you don't get in. So there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So it's very tightly knit. So if you want to be part of it, go ahead and join and submit your images for critique, or just share your images to the group, and that's about it. So guys, if you want to, I'll save that for later. So let's just jump into the comment section and see what people have to say. And then we'll go from there. So, here we go. Shoot, I'm starting from the wrong one. So hang on, let me go here. Okay, that was the last comment about the painting skin. Okay. So Terry J. Terry J saying, this is great to see you guys together. Thank you, Terry. Terry, is this a Terry from North Carolina? Think so. If it is, drop that comment down below. So Greg is saying, haha, I really like to tap into that. Yes, sorry about that. Wrong choice of words in the context of that image. So my bad. But next here, Samantha is saying, I would love to see this with some overhead lighting, great expression. I agree. Overhead lighting, it depends with respect to our overhead lighting, because if it's directly overhead, they might cast some shadows under our eyes and stuff like that. So you got to be careful about that. So I guess it depends if you add an additional light in, or if you're bouncing some light back into her face and stuff like that. So yes, I would try, and then see the results. So Marco saying, hey guys, sorry I'm late. Well, it's better late than never, Marco. Samantha is saying here, Marco, the party is just getting started. Samantha is also saying it's a life changer. I guess she's referring to the micro dodging and burning. Marco is the business, LRS photography is saying here. And so you are saying dodging and burning so EW Images is saying, so you are saying dodging and burning as opposed to frequency separation. I am saying, Keydrin is saying he doesn't use frequency separation at all. He just basically used micro dodging and burning, and then, the heavy dodging and burning. I'm saying I utilize micro dodging and burning over frequency separation most of the time. I then use frequency separation if I'm doing quick work. So I don't shy away from using frequency separation. I also use frequency separation, like I said at the beginning, to basically help with transitioning. Like if I wanted to paint over someone's skin, because I don't have that control, that freehand control. So I probably use frequency separation to do something like that. But I do not use frequency separation for what people normally use it for, which is to, blurring out the skin. Yeah.
Hey, Ernesto, do you use a Wacom tablet?
I do.
Oh, okay.
It's very critical for what we're talking about here.
Very, very, very.
Very critical. You can't do any of this stuff without a Wacom tablet.
You can, but it's going to take you forever. And Samantha below can tell you She tried it before with a mouse and it does not work.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Takes way too long.
I was even trying to do it with my mouse because I'm using the mouse here to bring up those images, and I can't do it. So it's feel very awkward.
Oh yeah.
So Image Ultra is saying, I'm late again. Better late than never, man. LRS Photography is saying yep, EW or do both. I don't know what EW is. Samantha
I think he
saying,
was
go
I
ahead.
think he was referring to EW images.
Oh, okay. Samantha saying, when will Keydrin be back? I don't know, Keydrin, when you will be back.
I guess the next time Ernesto invites me over here to his party.
Sounds like a plan. Image Ultra, I do frequency separation and micro dodge and burning because I'm not great at either. Oh, okay. Well, I would say practice. Practice is, you know, what does it say? There's no easy road to success, you know? So you have to practice and you'll get good at it. I've been practicing it for like a year and I'm still not good at it, but I'm still practicing at doing this micro dodging and burning. So, but I definitely see the benefits. So practicing, you'll be better. Just keep in mind, it's techniques, it's tools. Use them, but don't abuse them, right? So Keydrin are making comments in the group. Stanley probably would have gotten more light. Hang on one second. What is this? Probably would have gotten more light on her face from the wall if her hair wasn't covering her eye. I don't think so, because that wall probably wouldn't have bounced that much light off of her face. And besides, I don't think that light would have bounced that much light on her face. I
Not
don't think. What do you
from
think?
that distance, anyways.
Yeah, I don't think so. So Terry, no, I'm from Michigan. Oh, so I'm thinking about the wrong Terry. However, I do have family in North Carolina. Okay. So EW Images, Ernesto, is the micro dodging and burning what you did in this video last month? I can't see the link that you provided, but I did put out a video because I guess whatchamacallit removes the link. But I will put a link to the video that I did that utilizes the micro dodging and burning. I didn't coin that term. I don't know who came up with that term, but yes, I'll put a link to that video. You have a video on that stuff, Keydrin? You have a video on the micro dodging and burning?
I have some. No, I don't have a video. I haven't made a video. I teach it in my workshops, but I don't. I haven't made a video yet. No.
We're gonna get to your workshop in a minute. Hang on one second, because I know there's an interesting one coming up. You guys got to hear about it. So give me 1 second here. So Keydrin can make it work, and then she's laughing.
Oh my goodness.
Wayne, my business partner, a bit late. I'm finishing up the video. All right, Wayne. So DMAC sub key Ernesto. Let me see.
What's going on, man?
Hang on 1 second here. Let's see. Show. Photomiac said you need to subscribe to his channel. What is DMAC saying? Who's you talking about? Keydrin. Photomiac.
Yeah.
Photomiac is saying you need to subscribe to his channel, Keydrin.
I have subscribed to your channel.
So there you go. He's making another news alert. So that's 2 news alerts, right? Don't use frequency separation, and he subscribed to Phil to Me Ike YouTube channel. 2 news alerts right there. So guys, drop those comments down below. But I want to talk to Keydrin here for a quick minute here. Keydrin, you do some awesome workshops, and you have some crazy attendance that come through every time you do these workshops in your area there. Tell us about your workshop that you have coming up in December, is it? What was going on with that?
Yes. Oh wow! I wish you would have known this. I could put up the fire. You put me on the spot, now, did you?
But I want to make sure people come to your workshop. You know.
Yeah. So Yeah. So the workshop that
I think it's
is
on
coming
December
up,
2nd, right? December 2nd.
yeah. Well, it's a 2 day workshop.
Okay.
So I feel like, when we do these 1 day workshops on location, I feel like people they get what they need to get, but I shoot to edit. So when I'm on location, I'm shooting with the vision of editing my image. So I always look at the back of the camera. I always make sure it is where I want to start as far as my base image. So you're going to learn posing, lighting, retouching. Uh, on the retouching, we have a whole syllabus to where we go from Lightroom to micro dodging and burning to slight frequency separation, if y'all want to learn that, to sharpening and exporting your images out of post. I've gathered a whole team now that will be there helping me. Samantha is on my team, and LRS Photography is on my team, and Brandon Cunningham. They help me do video, and they also help teach posing while I'm teaching lighting. So it's a whole group effort, and we're trying to make it better. And we're trying to come to different cities. So hopefully one day, Ernesto, I'll be able to come out to your city in New York. Not New York. I'm not stuck in New York still. In North Carolina, because I started following you over a year and a half ago. Because I just thought your lighting techniques were like amazing, man. And I was always watching your YouTube videos while I was at work, getting in trouble looking at your stuff. You almost got me fired.
Oh man.
No, I'm just messing with you. You didn't get me fired. But yeah. So your lighting is on point. I mean, just how you shoot, and I still look at you to today. I grab inspiration from you, and you are a great photographer as well. So one day we might get together and shoot out in North Carolina if I'm ever out that way.
Well, I certainly appreciate the kind words, sir. Yeah, I have to make it down your way soon, because a lot of people have been asking me, "Hey, when you coming down here?" I'm like, I
Hmm.
don't know. I made it down to Miami so far, but I have to go down to your neck of the woods. Just
You
to
know it's hard though.
what
You
what
traveling is hard. If you don't have enough attendees, I mean, a lot of people want me to go to places, but if it's not enough revenue that's going to come in to, you
true.
know, I mean, it's just hard. And then for this workshop that's coming up uh, on the second, it's only 10 people. We're only taking 10 people. So if you're one of the 10, then you better get it in. We priced it at $6.99. We've trying to be affordable, but I know my creative director said that we're going to up the price soon because we're going to be adding more theme shoots to our workshops and stuff like that. So if you want the cheaper price now is the time to get in because when we start doing these theme shoots, these ice princesses and all this other stuff, the price is going to probably go up.
You just put the nail on the head right there. I think that's the way you phrased that comment. But anyways, the key to these workshops, it's so sometimes people don't realize how much work that's involved in putting together these workshops. Is like sometimes you show up and you have like everything there and you think is like that's how it's supposed to be, but
Yep.
they don't see like the whole behind the scenes, like the weeks of planning that went into this thing, that trying to pull all these models, all these artists together to help create something that when people show up is just like they take out the camera and they go fire away, and then create some amazing work. So it's a testament to your team that, to put all this stuff together, which is, I think is pretty awesome. And it's also, helps from, your supportive community to come out and help and support you when
Oh
you
yeah.
put these things together, because it's just to help, is giving back to, the community, all of your years of experience that you have, your style, you're exposing all of that stuff to the attendees. So I think,
Knowledge is power, Ernesto.
yeah,
And I tell everybody that all the time. Your camera is only a tool. That's all it is. You can have the best camera in the world and you don't have the knowledge and you still won't get good images. So the knowledge is the key. I paid for it. I used to buy tutorials, go to workshops and all that to gain my knowledge. So,
yeah, invest in yourself. Investment in
yes.
yourself is very, very. I do this to this day. Like I invest like over like $1,000 every year on education. you know.
Exactly. Yes.
A lot of online education. The one thing I didn't used to do a lot, and what I'm trying to do more of, is attend like these in-person workshops. You know,
Oh yeah.
um,
Hmm.
I was like, when I didn't do it, I used to buy like a lot of the videos. Like I subscribed to the videos, that the tutorial videos, which is all great. It gives you a lot of information. It gave me a lot of information to help me grow
Hmm.
beyond, where I was, right, which is helpful. But the very first workshop, I would say a workshop, it wasn't really a workshop, but the very first in-person educational event, let's put it that way, that I ever attended was with Jerry Guionis. And I think he,
Yep.
he called it like the How to Wow Tour, I think it was. And I got to tell you, that very first event that I attended, maybe he set the bar a little bit too high for everybody else, but man, it's nothing like actually being in person, to actually sit down there, to have a conversation, to basically figure out things that you would normally see on a video, but you can't talk back to the video to say, hey, what am I missing here, right? So it was very, very eye opener for me. And ever since then, I was like, where's the next workshop? Especially if
Yep.
somebody that I really, really admire and I really want to learn for that person, I was like, where's the next workshop? And I definitely jump on it. So, guys, if you have the time and you're in the Houston area, you should definitely, definitely check out his workshop, the 2-day workshop. The first day, you're going to focus on what, posing, or what is it the first day?
Uh, the first day we're going to focus on lighting, posing. Let me see here. Hold on, real quick. I got a whole thing on it. Samantha's probably like, you should already know this. Lighting, posing, lighting and posing. And how to get the expression. How to get that expression from your model or your subject. That's what we're going to be focusing on the first day.
And the second day is all post production and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, the second day is all post production. You're gonna need a pen and paper. You're gonna need to bring your laptop, and you're definitely gonna need a Wacom tablet.
Awesome. So, guys, definitely check on that. Samantha, if you want to drop that link, I don't know if you could put links in this chat. Sometimes it doesn't allow you, but I'll put the link in the description. I don't have it
Uh-huh.
there right now, but I'll put the link in the description to it, and you guys could go check it out. So if you're in the Houston area, or you're not in the Houston area, you're close by, you should definitely go over and check it out. Where are you having it, at the Fort Worth camera store? Where are you having it?
I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, so the on location part, the first day will be in Fort Worth somewhere. We haven't picked a location, and that's another thing we're going to teach. How to pick these different locations for this kind of style that I shoot. And then the second day will be at Fort Worth Camera at 1600 Montgomery Boulevard from 9 to 1.
Okay, awesome. All right, so I think, one point Samantha made in here, which I didn't make, is that it's also incredibly valuable, making connections with not just other photographers, but other artists that may be a little bit more experienced than your local artists that you've been working with. Maybe like your hair, your makeup artist, hairstylist, and stuff like that. It definitely exposes you to new people and new experiences, and it just makes you overall very much more rounded as not even a photographer, but of a person, as far as your education is concerned. So, go out, enjoy the workshop, learn, practice after you're done. That's the one thing that
Oh
people
yeah,
don't do after
they don't,
workshops.
man. Got to.
Practice, 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 because it definitely
Arnesta,
helps. Yeah.
I'm gonna say this, and I know we're about to close. Every time I've had a workshop, and this is the funny thing, I've been to a few workshops, and then I've left, and I've never talked to a person after that. But it seems that when I have a workshop and I keep it to 10 people or one-on-one workshops, these people become friends. These people friend each other on Facebook. They talk on a regular. So it's almost having a family after that. So it's been really great in that aspect as well.
Yeah, great connections for life for sure. So let me just read some comments here, and then we're going to close this thing out. So, so D-Mac saying in Houston, I hope. Yes, Houston, D-Mac, that's where it's going to be. Samantha, it's going to be live, guys, live. How many attendees do you need to travel? Well, 10 in this particular case. We need 10 attendees to sign up. LRS, yes, D-Mac, we will be in Houston soon. He's a great mentor. I'm guessing Samantha's referring to you, Keydrin there. D-Mac, Key was the first YouTuber I started to seriously follow outside of the fro. So there you go. You got a D-Mac.
Thank you, D-Mac.
And then my man Flint is saying ESP is the guru of posing. Well, thank you, my man.
Sure
Flint.
is.
Fort Worth area, so that's that. And then lastly here, EW Images is saying Ernesto was my gateway to other black photographers. Once I followed him, I found Keydrin, Photo Me Ike, etc. Awesome to see someone who looks like me in photography. Yes, I felt like we weren't represented. Okay, thank you, EW Image, appreciate that. Stanley, Paris.
Oh my goodness.
Ernesto, I think we look alike. Okay, Stanley, I'll take your word for that one. Terry J, thank you both. Happy Thanksgiving. Same to you.
Happy Thanksgiving, man.
And then Photo Me Ike is peeping in, just popped in. So what up, Photo Me Ike? We're closing it out. So you're gonna have to go look back at the 2 news alert. You were one of the news alerts, so you're gonna have to watch back. You're gonna have to watch the rewatch. Okay. All right, so hey, Keydrin, man, look, it was awesome. I sincerely appreciate you joining me for this Monday critique. I sincerely hope we could do it again.
Absolutely.
So it was awesome. You want to say any final words before we close this thing out?
Hey, I want to say thank you, Ernesto, for having me on your show. It was, when you messaged me on Instagram, I didn't know who Joe, what's your name on Instagram?
Hey,
I'm like,
don't be hating on my Joe Post name. I'm gonna have to change that now. You're the second
Hey.
person that's jumping on me on that name, man.
Hey, man, listen, when I saw, because I almost didn't answer it because I get so many messages on Instagram. I don't know who Joe is. And so I went in there and I saw your name. I was like, because when I saw Ernesto, I said, I know who you are. I said, oh my God, I went and told my wife, I said, hey, babe, look, Ernesto, he want me to be on it. He's one of my YouTube photographer people I like to follow. So I was excited. So I want to say thank you so much. And thank you for everybody that joined tonight. Hopefully I'll be able to do this again with him soon. I love it. I love it, man. I love photography. I love y'all. Ernesto, I'm going to get out there and shoot with you. And that is it for me, man.
Awesome. All right, guys. So that is it. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Put some comments down below. Let us know what you think after the video is no longer live, obviously. Share this video with your friends and family. And guys, if you got this far in this video and you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, what are you waiting for, guys? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and stop being a stalker. All right? And I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye.